What happened? Yeah. So let's chant the prayers. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kathamayam Dadati Sopadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamcha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vidam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parjana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Sakanitamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nidhi Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Desatarini He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopish Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanjana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evascha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thanks again for joining, and we'll continue our discussion on chapter 10. So we discussed till chapters text 7, and where we discussed about how accepting Krishna is one of the things which you need to do, right? Where Krishna says that by that anyone who accepts Krishna's opulences, Krishna's activities, he actually, by convincing that, or by accepting those, he engaged himself in unalloyed devotion service, right? And so if you want to engage ourselves in unalloyed devotional service, then it's the process to accept the verdict of Bhagavad Gita. And accepting Krishna is the origin of all the sources. Krishna is the origin of all the qualities. Krishna is the origin of all the personalities. Krishna is the origin of spiritual world, material world, and everything. Understanding in that way, we can definitely fix our mind in Krishna's devotional service. This chapter 10 started from chapter 9, where Krishna says, engage your activities, engage your mind, engage your duty, and offer it to me, right? From that way, Krishna is trying to describe us more about how can we engage in Krishna's service. And today we'll start with text 8. Text 8 till text 11. These 4 verses are also called as the essence of Bhagavad Gita, right? Where we will see this is actually a completely pure bhakti. The definition is completely pure bhakti. So, and this 4 verses, just 4 verses, also called Chatusloki Gita. I mean, understanding the essence of these 4 verses, we actually can understand about the pure bhakti and can go towards the pure bhakti actually. Right? Let's try to go through this. Please repeat if possible. Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo Mataha Sarvam Pravartate Iti Matva Bhajante Mam Bodha Bhava Samanvitaha Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo Mataha Sarvam Pravartate Iti Matva Bhajante Mam Bodha Bhava Samanvitaha. Yeah. So Krishna says here that I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. So in just previous verse, Krishna describes that, by understanding my opulences, by accepting my opulences, they will engage in devotional service, isn't it? And now Krishna is actually elaborating it more. Krishna is saying that I'm the source of all spiritual and material world. So the one who has this understanding that Krishna is the source of everything, and then everything actually coming out of Krishna, right? Then what happens? They engage in Krishna's devotional service and they worship with full heart. So when the heart comes, it means, well, basically you start loving Krishna. So the reciprocation or the worship of Krishna or the devotional service of Krishna is now with love, not towards, okay, I'm worshiping you, I need something from you now. Okay, I'm worshiping you, so please fulfill my desire. I need a big bungalow, good family, good education, everything. Not that. It's now the relationship goes higher towards love, right? So let's see what Prabhupada says in his purport. He says that a learned scholar who has studied this Vedas perfectly and has information from authorities like Lord Chaitanya and who knows how to apply these teachings can understand that Krishna is the origin of everything in both material as well as spiritual world. And because he knows this perfectly, he becomes firmly fixed in devotional service of the Supreme Lord. So what does that mean? It means that anyone who has gone through this authority, and the Prabhupada says about authorities, it means actually the parampara. So parampara is very, very important to understand any of this spiritual subject. So as we go to school, and we go to school, we see a teacher, and teacher teaches us. So teacher is what he is teaching. Actually, he has been taught from his teachers. He accepted what he has been taught, isn't it? And the teacher of the teacher, he actually has got the information from his teacher. And if you see it actually, so in this similar way, the spiritual education is actually coming from the parampara. Lord Brahma gave knowledge to Narad Muni, and Narad Muni from Narad Muni to Vyasadeva, and from Vyasadeva to Shukadev Goswami, from Shukadev Goswami to Suta Goswami, and then follows is coming towards the line, right? So that's how the knowledge has came down and is back being carefully being taken care by these disciples of the spiritual masters, and gradually they have propagated the message towards, and it's also going towards as well to us as well, right? In the similar way, in the same line, Prabhupada is saying that when we understand the knowledge of these Vedas through authority, right, then what we understand very clearly that Krishna is the source of everything. See, if you see Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is clearly saying it, isn't it? There is no dilution in it. Krishna is saying, Aham sarvasya prabhu mata sarvam pravartate. Everything, whatever you see in material and spiritual world, emanates from me. And you may say, how is that? How Krishna is doing it? So we know that Krishna is doing through his energy. Krishna's energy is actually acting all across, and his everything is doing. So Krishna gave the knowledge to Lord Brahma through Sabda, and to create this creation. Secondary creation happened by Lord Brahma, the knowledge given to him by Krishna himself. And then the knowledge being passed from Lord Brahma to Narada Muni and to the followers. And that's why it's very, very important to get the information from authority. Right? Everything we search in Google is not completely correct. Right? So we need to be sure that whatever I'm learning or whatever I'm hearing or whatever I'm reading, actually it's studied from authority. And if you see, we may sometimes ask a question that we would like to read the Vedas and all other things, right? But if you see one thing very, very prominently, Vyasadeva has written all the scriptures, right? All these things, what we see is Purana, Bharata, or Ramayana, or Upanishad, everything is written by Vyasadeva. However, after even writing everything, he is saying that I am not satisfied by my literature. If you just imagine that if an author, he himself says that I am not satisfied by my literature, then how can the people who read will satisfy? And then when he was, in morose, he was thinking why it's happening, why something is missing. Just imagine he has written everything, right? and that person is saying, I'm morose, I am not completely satisfied, then Narada Muni says, you are not satisfied completely because you have not glorified Krishna completely, in elaborately. He says, I have described Krishna. And Narada Muni says, yes, you have described Krishna, but you have described Krishna as very, very small part, small division. And eventually, the Vedas is so vast that the definition of Krishna is getting aloof. People just bypass it and goes away because you have described uh, Purusharth very, very elaborately. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. You have described about this very, very elaborately, but not bhakti. Because of that reason, you are not satisfied. And hence, we see that second verse of Bhagavatam itself says that it rejects all this cheating religion. So, all the things which we get from the Vedas, they somehow direct us towards Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. And Krishna also says that Vedas are actually is to know me. And Bhagavad Gita is clearly saying about how Krishna is supreme. Right? We normally know that Krishna or God is supreme, God is powerful, but how God is powerful, how God is strong, how God is completely having all knowledges, that is what we get from Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam when we read and understand and accept it through an authority. Just by reading by own self, we'll get it there. But definitely we need a spiritual master. We need someone who can guide us in this way of succession, so that when that teaching comes, we can understand very well that Krishna is the origin of everything. Right? And this same topic has been clearly mentioned many a time as well. Even in chapter 7, chapter 8, chapter 9, chapter 10, even chapter 5, 6, everywhere. When you see everywhere, you'll find the same concept in a different context. Right? Krishna says that offer everything to me. Isn't it? So what does it mean? Krishna is saying I'm supreme. Krishna again, chapter 6, Krishna says, Yogina Sarvesham Mad Gatinantar Atmanam Sardavan Bhajate Yoma Samay Krutamata. Krishna is saying that yes, there are all types of yogis, like Jnana Yogi, Dhyana Yogi, Karma Yogi, Ashtanga Yogi, but the one who is servicing me in bhakti is the supreme, is the topmost. Isn't it? So Krishna is linking everything, but the only thing that we are not diving deep into this logic. We are still a bit going away what Krishna is trying to say us. And that's why once we have this knowledge, then we can fix completely in devotional service of the Lord. And then Prabhupada says he can never be deviated by any amount of nonsensical commentaries by fools. So when we have this knowledge, definitely you won't become fool. So I was discussing some other day with one of the person. He says, I asked him question like, what do you mean by supreme? He is a person? He is a impersonal? He is a energy or what? Then he say, yes, it's like he is impersonal. He is light, but from that he got manifested. I said, can you prove it? No answer. And then I told that yes, you are right, but not completely right. The complete definition of Bhagavan is we have Brahman, then we have Paramatma, and then we have Bhagavan. So Bhagavan is the essence. Everything is coming from Bhagavan. And I can give you so much references from Bhagavad Gita itself. However, the point is that if you do not accept Bhagavad Gita, then the logic, whatever you say, they will not accept it, isn't it? Because they say, I don't accept Bhagavad Gita. So for that, Krishna has already said that many times that you need to be my devotee. And Krishna, I think couple of times he says that, oh Arjuna, I'm saying this knowledge to you because you are my dear friend and devotee. So the first condition is that it's very clear. Right? Today in the Bhagavatam class, Prabhupada was sharing that once Prabhupada was being challenged, and he was asked, can you see God or have you seen God? And Prabhupada says that are you ready to accept my answer? Right. First question is this. Do you accept me if I say yes or no? First thing is that if you ask yourself, can you accept me what I'm saying? Then I will answer you. If your mindset already said that, okay, no one can see God, then even if I say yes, you won't accept it, isn't it? So the first point is that the person needs to understand that yes, I can accept it. Then only the teacher will teach us. So even the first step is actually Shraddha, faith. So if we have faith in the scriptures, if we have faith in the spiritual master, then only we will be able to accept their teachings, their understanding, and their instructions. If we mentally, what happens normally when we discuss something, sometimes it happens that whatever the person is saying, we are not listening it, but the background we are trying to prepare some question to put him back again as an argument. It means actually we are not listening the person what is trying, but internally we are trying to defy him, deny his thought, right? So that's the point. So unless until we accept at least the Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, see where Prabhupada says the authorities. If you don't accept authority, then there is no point of going ahead, right? And once you have accepted authority, you won't be become fooled by any of these commentaries or any tutors, right? So definitely you will ask the question, can you prove me this? I mean, it's not good to ask all the time, prove me, but when you see that something is not relevant to what I know, then you can ask question. And if the person should provide some valuable information from the Shastras. And Bhagavatam also says, Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavan iti sabdyate. So Krishna can be understood as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Right. And Krishna again, Prabhupada again says that all the Vedic literature agrees that Krishna is the source of Brahma, Shiva, and all of the demigod. In one of the class, I was hearing nicely, Amrita Prabhu was saying that Lord Indra says Krishna is supreme, Lord Brahma says Krishna is supreme, Lord Shiva says Krishna is supreme, Lord Varuna says Krishna is supreme, Lord Suryadev says Krishna is supreme, and Krishna says I am supreme. So what the big deal to that we are not understanding it? Right? Everyone is saying Krishna is supreme. Krishna is saying, yes, I am supreme. That's all. Isn't it? So, and Prabhupada can quote different Puranas as well, that it says, it was Krishna who is being instructed Brahma in the Vedic knowledge. It was Krishna who in the beginning instructed Brahma in the Vedic knowledge and who disseminated Vedic knowledge in the past. So just if you see one thing, right away we can say it, right? I just read what I read it was Krishna who in the beginning instructed Brahma in Vedic knowledge, right? And earlier I read that it was Krishna who is instructed Brahma, who is instructed by Brahma in Vedic knowledge. Then I got confused. No, I think I read something wrong. Then I repeated it again. He says, no, it was Krishna who given knowledge to Lord Brahma, not Brahma gave knowledge to Krishna, right? So in the similar way, we can see that Prabhupada is mentioning that all the different Upanishads from where the Shastras are there. So just to quote this one verse of Krishna, it's not about only Bhagavad Gita. Krishna Prabhupada is mentioning the different Shastras as well, that yes, this all the Upanishad and all this are actually pointing toward the same thing what Krishna is saying here, right? So if you see it, and Prabhupada mentioned that how from Narayana Indra is born, from Narayana the 8 Vashus are born, and from Narayana the 11 Udrudras are born, from Narayana the 12 Adityas are born. So Narayana is an expansion of Krishna. So everything is coming out from Narayana, and Narayana is actually coming out from Krishna. So who is supreme? So Krishna's expansion is different things, right? So, and Prabhupada again talks about different verses as well, like Narayana Upanishad. And let's see, this is actually very, very important verse. So this is a nice and elaborate purport Prabhupada has made, because this is the definition of pure bhakti, where we understand that Krishna is the source of all spiritual and material worlds. One thing is how can we understand that Krishna create everything? So it's just by Krishna's desire, everything is created. He just wished and created it. Maybe you can take an example by understanding as well. Like today in the morning class, it was example given. So when we have some Rashimata Shiva scratching her neck. So did you thought of something that, okay, something is happening, I need to scratch my hand, okay, I need to take my hand over there and do it, or it happens automatically, isn't it? Let's suppose someone is need to scratch his head. It doesn't try to do anything. Okay, what happened? Oh, so where's my hand? I need to close my fingers and then take to my hands and then do it. No, it happens automatically. We don't think much, isn't it? It happens automatically. Without thinking, the action has happened. In a similar way, Krishna, just whenever he thinks that, okay, it has to happen, it happens. It creates this by his energy, right? And then, yes, this, I think I would recommend if you can go through the whole purport for 10.8. It's very, very elaborate and very nice, actually. Prabhupada mentioning very from all different perspective how Krishna is the source of everything, right? And then in the ninth verse explains about the symptoms of pure devotees. So how the devotees are actually attached to Krishna. Let's see. So text 8, again it says Krishna is the source of everything, and text 9 is going to say symptoms of pure devotees. Machitta, Madgata Prana, Bodhayanta, Parasparam, Kathayantas, Cha, Mam, Nityam, Tushyanti, Cha, Ramanti, Cha, Machitta Madgata Prana, Bodhayanta Parasparam, Kathayantascha Mam Nityam, Tushyanti Cha Ramanti Cha. Very nice verse. See, Krishna says the thoughts of my pure devotee dwells in me. So their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. So in text 34 of chapter 9, where Krishna says that very clearly, that mana bhava bhakto, engage, always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, offer obeisances to me, right? Krishna says, do this, do this, do this. And now what Krishna is saying, my pure devotees, they dwells in me, their thought dwells in me, their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. So earlier he says, do this, do this, do this. And now he is saying that a pure devotee automatically does this, isn't it? So when we have the pure devotion towards Lord, what will happen? Our thoughts will always dwell in Krishna. So basically, whatever we think of, whatever we speak about, it's all about Krishna, right? And their lives, the pure devotees, their lives are completely devoted towards Krishna's service. And they derive great satisfaction. What happens when we engage ourselves in devotional service towards Lord? We derive satisfaction. And whenever the devotees, they meet each other, what they do? They do conversation about Krishna, and then they release it. Someone say, okay, I read this in Krishna book, and someone says, okay, I read this in Krishna book, and the from Bhagavatam, and they exchange it, and they release the pastimes of Krishna. Wow, how Krishna actually is lifting Govardhan hill. From this, the weakest part of the body, the pinky finger, from it's actually he's lifting the heavy hill. How he is subduing the ego of Lord Brahma or Indra, right? How Krishna is actually killing Putana, how Krishna is playing with the cowherd boys, how Krishna is going with the gopis, right? So they come and discuss about the pastimes of Krishna. That is the one reason why Krishna came to this material world and do the pastimes, so that the devotee, they can actually discuss about it and relish the pastimes. So they know very well that, okay, if I go to spiritual world, I could see this and I could be engaged in this service to Lord as well, right? So Prabhupada says the pure devotees whose characteristics are mentioned here, what they do, they engage themselves fully in transcendental loving service of the Lord. So first thing is that the symptoms of pure devotees, they engage themselves in the loving service of the Lord. So always Prabhupada always mention this point, is that loving service. So devotional service is actually a loving service. It's not just devotion, it's actually service. If we are serving by understanding that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, He is the Master, and I am supposed to serve Him. We are supposed to serve Him. I am His servant. I am a servant of the servant of the servant of the servant. Right? As Krishna is the Supreme, and I'm just trying to serve Krishna's servant and trying to serve Krishna in that way. Right? And then what happens? Their mind cannot be diverted from the lotus feet of the Krishna. So the mind is, as Krishna already said, that no, and always think of me, right? Become my devotee. And by becoming devotee, what we are doing already, we are actually, our mind is completely fixed on the lotus feet of Krishna. And I discussed earlier that their talk are solely on the transcendental subjects. They do not talk about the mundane subjects. They discuss about transcendental activities of the Lord, right? And that's how they engage 24 hours daily. So here it's being says, Kathayantascha mam nityam. Nitya means all the time, every time, right? So, and then how they relish it to Santicharamati. So they are engaged, and they by discussing it, and they relish this discussion with the Lord. How? Nityam, all the time, right? That's the purpose is 24 hours, right? So, and if we can invest our 2 hours a day by chanting the holy name properly, then we can see and feel that the whole rest 24 or 22 hours, actually, we are thinking about Krishna. Even in work, we are thinking about Krishna. So 2 hours of chanting in the morning, it helps us a lot to rest 22 hours to engage ourselves, our thoughts towards Krishna, right? Yeah, Prabhupada also makes this is basically, the definition is for a pure devotee. And now Prabhupada says, in the preliminary stage of the devotional service, they relish the transcendental pleasure from the service itself. And in the mature stage, they are actually situated in the love of God. So initially, we get some realizations by serving, right? And that happens, so by realization, we get faith, and then we start serving Krishna more. And then in mature state, gradually and gradually, when we come in the stage of maturity, then we are actually in love with God. We are in love with Krishna, right? And once we are in this platform, they can realize the highest perfection which is exhibited by the Lord in His abode. So to realize this point, we need to take extra step. We need to do something extra from the rest of the world, to so that we can relish that. See, we definitely we cannot live without hankering for something, some enjoyment. We always seek for some pleasure, but the problem is that we are trying to seek pleasure from the material world, and material world is actually is dukkha sasatam. He's going to give us miseries. So we are trying to get pleasure from the material objects, material world, which is actually supposed to give the miseries. Then how can we get relish it, right? So if we are trying to relish or enjoy things through our body and mind, these body and mind are material. So from the body and mind materially, we cannot exhibit any transcendental relishment. But if we engage ourselves in serving the transcendental, serving Krishna's lotus feet, then it says Jivara Sarupa Nitya Krishna Radas. So when we understand that the Jiva is actually Das of Krishna and serve Krishna with that loving relationship, what will happen? We gradually in our mature state, we can actually experience those highest pleasure, highest perfection of the human body actually, right? So by then we will be able to relish that highest form or love of God, right? So definitely, gradually, we need to engage ourselves more in studying Krishna's pastime, associating with the devotees, hearing more about Krishna. The important thing is hearing. Hearing can be done two ways, like right now we are doing, like hearing from Bhagavad Gita, reading Bhagavad Gita. And the second is hearing Krishna's name itself, the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. When we hear this, the Lord Rama actually, when he says it's a pleasure potency, Hara is pleasure potency, right? And Rama is reservoir of all pleasure. So we are actually calling out, please help us out, right? So that we can release those relationship with Krishna. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he himself came and he actually showed this, the way, how can we get there. And here it says, Prabhupada says, Lord Chaitanya likens transcendental devotional service to the sowing of a seed in the heart of the living entity, right? Once we have this seed in the heart, we actually can nourish it by hearing and chanting, right? See, and Prabhupada mentioned this point we are discussing earlier. Out of them, there are a few who are fortunate enough to meet the pure devotee and get a chance to understand devotional service. So there are so many things happening in this material world, but it's a very, very rare opportunity that we meet a pure devotee and accept or take step towards devotional service. It's really, I'll tell you, it's not that easy. Though it looks very simple, but it's not that easy. It's definitely, we need mercy of the devotees. Then only we can take a next step. However, the very first important thing is that we should have faith, and by serving the devotees, we actually can get faith as well, right? In Bhagavatam, it's explained that first is Mahat Seva. So we need to serve the pure devotees, and by their serving them, we can actually get it. And this month, today starting is Chaturmasi, right? It's a very, very important month. So even in this 4 month, by serving this Brahmanas, Narada Muni, he's got his real Narada Muni body. Earlier he was a boy, and he was serving all these Vedantists for the 4 months. And by serving them, in the next life, he actually got a transcendental body. So these 4 months, actually, we can increase our japa, we can increase our reading, and can increase our hearing as well. Right. So how Prabhupada says that this devotional service is just like a seed, and if it is sown in the heart of a living entity, and if he goes again, right? Seed is there. Seed, actually, the bhakti seed is already there in our heart. The only thing that is lying in dormant, we need to reopen it. We need to water it. And watering is what? He says, if he goes on hearing and chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, that seed which lies in our heart will fructify. All right. So as a tree need watering regularly, isn't it? This seed, Bhakti Lata Bij, actually is the watering of the seed is hearing and chanting. And then it comes Vishnu Smaranam. So chant the holy name, hear the holy name, and then remember the Lord as well at the same time. Right. So if you see, actually we are very, very fortunate that we are on a platform where we are discussing about Krishna, and we are reading the Prabhupada's commentary, and how he gives us the knowledge that just by engaging ourselves in hearing and chanting, we can actually release the highest thing which cannot ever be experienced by this material or mundane activities. We all are looking for some pleasure, but the real pleasure is lying by serving Krishna, not by serving this Maya. Right. So that's again a long purport. As I said, I would recommend, I would suggest and request as well, please go and read this 10.8 till 11 verses completely. Each lines of the purport. Prabhupada made many important verses from Bhagavad Gita and from Bhagavatam and from other sources as well. right? And also Prabhupada now saying that, Krishna is saying that in the Bhagavatam, it also full of such narrations about the relationship between the Supreme Lord and his devotees. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam is very dear to the devotees. As stated in the Bhagavatam itself, Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam Amalam Yat Vaishnavanam Priyam. So it's very priya to the Vaishnavas because it actually describes about the glories of the Lord and also describes the glories of the devotees. How, just imagine Parikshit Maharaj, you can take any example, even there was a demon born called Vitrasur. Even he was devoted to Lord. If you read that conversation of Vitrasur and Indra, the Indra is fighting with Vitrasur, and Indra is saying, okay, and Vitrasur is actually saying that I am in complete trance. I am just remembering Krishna. Just so please kill me now. Right? Vitrasur actually he was born to kill Indra, but the mantra was God gave it here, so it was and then he was actually being killed by Indra. And that Vitrasur is praying, please kill me because now I'm completely seeing Krishna. I mean, even if you take any examples from Bhagavatam, let's say Parikshit Maharaj has ruling the whole universe, right? And as soon as he got that, okay, in 7 days I will die, he gave up everything and went to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. Is it so? What we have right now, and what we can give up, right? We don't have anything, we can't give up anything, right? But Parikshit Maharaj had everything, but he could give up in a just fraction of a second, not a second thought. He said, okay, 7 days left. He was actually, the Bhagavatam says he was actually entering his palace, and just entering his palace, and he got the news that you got a curse that Takshaganas will bite you in 7 days and he will die. And he didn't enter the palace. He just came out from there itself. So, okay, done. And he gave this, his son Janmaja, he took this kingdom, and Parikshit Maharaj left for searching where I can hear Krishna Katha. Right. So, as Prabhupada says that though in the narration there are so many activities by which actually we can hear about Krishna's pastimes. Right. Okay, I think I thought to do this whole 4 verses, but I don't think. Let's see for this verse as well. 10th. Krishna. See, so now what happened as of now? Krishna describes in 8th verse that Krishna is the source of everything. And text 9, he says in terms of the pure devotee of the Lord, because when we are devotee of the Lord, our mind are automatically engaged in Krishna's service. We are always thinking of Krishna. We are discussing about Krishna, and what we are relating that relationship with Krishna. We are relating the pastimes of Krishna, right? Then in text 10, Krishna says that he gives intelligence by how can someone come to his own abode. As of now, we have seen so many things that Krishna says, okay, anyone who comes to my abode, he never come back to this material world. Krishna says, at the time of death, if you remember me, you won't come back again. But is it easy to remember Krishna at the time of death? It's not that easy, right? For the whole 80, 90 years of life, we have been, running towards money and sense enjoyment. How can you remember Krishna at the time of death? It's not possible. But now Krishna in 10th verse, he's saying that how Krishna gives this knowledge, right, by which we can actually come back to Krishna. That's how I'm thinking. Shall we continue, or shall we continue the next week? What you say? Because we have 2 more verses, 10 and 11, because these 4 verses are very, very important actually. So I think we won't be able to cover in 5 minutes this verse. What we can do is, the next week we'll just recap 8, 9 a bit, and then we'll elaborate on 10 and 11 again. Does that make sense? Is that okay?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Any questions or thoughts or any comments, or anyone to share something? If you're reading something and you can share it, please, most welcome. Okay. If nothing, then we can stop here, and we'll come back again on next Wednesday to continue the second part of this essence of Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, can I share something?
Yes, definitely.
Oh, sorry. So like 3 years back, during Guru Purnima day, that was the first time we came to your class at
Wow.
City Center. So it's been like
Wow.
3 years, and so very grateful for all your classes
Wow.
and whatever you have taught until now. So and more. So yeah,
Thank you.
thank
Thank
you
you
very
very
much
much.
for that.
So as said, it's everything coming from my guru and
Mhm.
Prabhupada and the devotees. So it's nothing mine. I don't have any bhakti at all, but I'm just trying to share what I know. It might benefit for other one as well. So my humble request will be, if you are thinking of getting benefited, just take another step, increase your chanting, and that will you will release some more as well.
Yeah. I still remember like Ashwin was part of ISKCON Scotland WhatsApp group. And
Mhm.
then he saw this message about you taking a class. It was the Tuesdays classes.
I know. I know.
Yeah. And then like we just randomly like went there and we saw you and then we started attending those classes.
Thank
So
you. Thank you for taking a step. I know, yes, I remember some 6 years back as well. I started this program, same 6 years back. And I think on fifth year, I posted in Facebook, and one person, he came from Facebook, and now he's one of my best friend in Glasgow. So now he's chanting 8 rounds, at least every now and then he's chanting 8 rounds. Somehow they're getting busy, so not able to come to classes, but still we are connected every now and then, every 2 or 3 days we used to connect, and he's chanting 8 rounds now. So thank you. So I mean, yes, it's nice to see you every day, every week. It's 3 years, yeah, but still we have a lot to go. So uh, take a next step, and thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thanks for sharing as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.